It's a typical morning in Tehran's busy neighborhood of Gaitaria. But on the streets of the Iranian capital, a deadly game is being played. Dr. Masoud Mohammadi heads to work, but a booby-trapped motorcycle explodes near his car, leaving one of the regime's most important nuclear scientists dead. Months later, the deadly game continues. In two different parts of Tehran, separate hit teams are on the move. A motorcycle weaves through traffic, approaching the car of this man. Another scientist, Majid Shahriari. Small precision bombs are placed on his car. Shahriari is killed instantly. But the second hit team misses the most important target, Dr. Faridun Abbasi. Abbasi, a key figure in Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile programs, spots the killers in time to escape. After condemning the attacks with full support of the Ayatollah Khamenei, President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad promotes Abbasi to lead Iran's powerful atomic energy organization. And most recently, on July 23rd, a fourth assassination. This man, Dariush Rezanejad, an expert in nuclear triggers, was gunned down. Hello, I'm Bill Hemmer, and welcome to Fox News Reporting. Iran's nuclear secrets, a shadowy world of murder, cyber warfare, nuclear physics, and smuggling. It is dirty money. This story is filled with characters that rival any in a James Bond film. The world's attention will focus on that building across the East River here in New York City. At the United Nations, 193 member countries gather for the General Assembly. The state of Iran's suspected nuclear weapons program is a looming cloud. Sanctions against Iran have been in place for decades, and many argue they are not working. A whopping $1 billion has been paid in fines by international banks doing all kinds of shady business with Iran. But we ask, what is some of the undeniable scientific proof of Iran's nuclear weaponization programs? Who's behind it? Who's profiting from it? And who's the nuclear godfather spreading the bomb around the world? Senior correspondents Eric Shawn and Amy Kellogg and the Fox News investigative team dig deep and travel far to bring you this critical information. It's a region in chaos. The biggest concern of all, Iran, whose population of 73 million has been dominated for 32 years by a ruthless regime.
Iranian nuclear weapon program is a serious threat.
If the Iranians get nuclear weapons, it's going to be a huge change in the world.
And is any of this funded by illegal international banking?
The bank employees were instructed to hide any evidence that this money came from Iran?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They're just out there to make a buck.
Iran would like to establish or re-establish an empire, and the nuclear device is one component of that empire.
We don't see a problem with our nuclear program.
Do you think Iran is a threat? Iran is ahead of the game. If Iran has enough 20% enriched uranium, then its breakout time would be in the order of weeks, not months.
9 countries now have nuclear weapon capability. The power to harness nuclear energy and build a bomb has always been a race. Summer 1939, just before he invaded Poland, Adolf Hitler tried to be first. More than 200 Nazi scientists worked day and night to develop a nuclear bomb. A worried Albert Einstein wrote this urgent letter to President Franklin Roosevelt about the Nazi program. It was lost in Washington's bureaucracy.
It devolved to a committee that was run by a scientist from the Department of Agriculture, and the word just didn't get around.
But in a weird twist of fate, on December 6, 1941, FDR approved the Manhattan Project. Just one day later, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. America joined the war and the nuclear arms race. 3.5 years later, the Third Reich faced defeat. The Soviet Union, the U.S., and Britain competed to snatch up Hitler's nuclear scientists and secrets. But with the success of the Manhattan Project, the U.S. led the race to the bomb And in August 1945, President Harry Truman chose to unleash it. 2 atomic bombs laid waste to the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, forcing a Japanese surrender. World War II was over. But only 4 years later, on July 16, 1949, the Soviets shocked the world.
An atomic explosion occurred in the Soviet Union.
For the next 40 years, the United States and the Soviet Union faced off, and ordinary Americans lived with the threat of mutual assured destruction.
It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world closer than ever to nuclear annihilation.
And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender.
Back in 1956, Kennedy's predecessor, Dwight D. Eisenhower, had launched a program that supplied countries with nuclear technology for non-military purposes such as civilian energy and research.
The United States does not wish merely to present strength, but also the desire and the hope for peace.
This program, called Atoms for Peace, helped build Asia's first nuclear reactor in India in 1956. Pakistan joined in 1965, and Iran's first research reactor was fueled with enriched uranium in 1967.
The Shah was interested in participating in the Atoms for Peace program, which was begun by General Eisenhower in the 1950s.
Ambassador Thomas Graham has advised 5 U.S. presidents on issues related to nuclear nonproliferation. As a U.S. diplomat, Graham negotiated every major arms control and nonproliferation agreement from 1970 to 1997.
The Shah was someone who had grandiose views of himself, and his idea was to build 22 power reactors.
When the Shah regime collapsed overnight, the Iranian regime became more anti-American than any of the Soviet republics because it took action.
Middle East expert Walid Fares is a Fox News contributor and author of The Coming Revolution: Struggle for Freedom in the Middle East.
The Khomeini regime not only did the hostage crisis, the embassy in Iran, but it started to supply terrorist organizations in Lebanon, including Hezbollah.
India, 1974. Pakistan, 1998. Is Iran next? Iran continues to deny it's building nuclear weapons. This is what President Ahmadinejad told Eric Shawn last year.
Would you swear to Allah that you are not planning to build a nuclear bomb?
Is there a law that says I must swear to convince others? I have said on numerous occasions that we do not want an atomic bomb.
Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful and only for civilian energy. Others see something more sinister at work. Valerie Lindsay is editor of IranWatch.org.
The nuclear program, missile program, any alleged chemical or biological weapon work, and taken together we have a list of nearly 600 names, nearly 600 Iranian entities that are involved in this work. An entity can be a company, an individual, a bank.
But if Iran is developing the bomb, how did it acquire the technology to do so? It's a strange tale of international crime and intrigue. And it all begins with a Pakistani scientist that some consider the most dangerous man in the world. His name? A.Q. Khan. Coming up, the strange story of Pakistan's nuclear merchant of death.
We are a nuclear power and we can explore nuclear devices.
Was he a rogue agent? Was he proliferating all over the place?
That's next. Now meet the man who's been called a nuclear merchant of death. He sold North Korea, Libya, and Iran nuclear weapons technology. From London, senior foreign affairs correspondent Amy Kellogg picks up our story.
This is the Pakistani scientist, Dr. A.Q. Khan. He is a hero to many in Pakistan and often called the father of the Islamic bomb.
This is Islamic bomb, and this is a Christian bomb, and this is a communist bomb. A bomb is a bomb.
Deep inside the hills of Chagi, Khan proved to the world in 1998 that his team had built the bomb. But over nearly 40 years, Khan also became known as one of the most influential criminals of all time, a nuclear proliferator.
He's a real threat. I mean, the Iranians wouldn't have much, but for him. He peddled nuclear weapons in Iran, North Korea. He tried with Iraq, but failed, and with Libya. He agreed to give them a complete fuel cycle, everything.
Here, in his own handwriting, he quotes the Quran, "Prepare yourself properly to fight your enemies." Khan denied he smuggled, but acknowledged his business.
You place the order directly and you get it. I asked Tom, Dick, or Harry that I need this atom. Could you please buy for me?
Here he is, sitting in front of a model of a viable delivery system for atomic bombs. This missile is a design he obtained from North Korea. When he built it in Pakistan with North Korean help, he called it the Ghori. A similar design would emerge in Iran's Shahab 3.
His claim is that he was doing things at the bidding of successive civilian and military governments in Pakistan.
Simon Henderson is a veteran journalist now with the Washington Institute for Near East Policy. He has known and written about A.Q. Khan for 25 years. He received this plaque from Khan of a spinning centrifuge critical to uranium enrichment.
A centrifuge is a fast-moving cylinder. Think of it as a top-loading washing machine. Important to balance, because if you don't balance it properly, it makes a dreadful noise and could shatter.
Henderson also received these Christmas cards. And when Khan feared for his life in 2003, he placed his hopes in Henderson.
I'm going to read a letter which Dr. A.Q. Khan wrote to his wife, "Darling, if the government plays any mischief with me, take a tough stand. They might try to get rid of me to cover up all these things." Then it says, "Get in touch with Simon Henderson." That's me.
Why did A.Q. Khan think his own government was out to kill him? Again, there are clues in the past. Pakistan was shocked when arch-rival India got the bomb first in 1974. This photo captures a proud Prime Minister Indira Gandhi inspecting the detonation site. Then a 38-year-old metallurgist, Khan quickly offered his services to Pakistan's President Zulfikar Bhutto to help build a nuclear weapons program. Offer accepted, Khan returned to work in Holland for a company which had classified designs for European centrifuges. There, he allegedly stole the designs.
He thinks it's a false charge. He would regard that everything he did not only as a loyal Pakistani, but also as a Pakistani official.
Meanwhile, deadly games played out in 1977. President Bhutto, seen here with his 19-year-old daughter Benazir, was arrested and deposed in a military coup by this man, General Zia al-Haq. Nicknamed Cobra Eyes, Zia ordered Bhutto to prison and 2 years later to his hanging.
Justice must be done.
General Mohammed Zia al-Haq had said on the record that Pakistan will beg, borrow or steal in order to get nuclear technology. Khan would presumably say he was doing Zia's bidding.
And Benazir Bhutto would later have her own dangerous game with A.Q. Khan. Khan managed to blend science and smuggling with acute managerial skills.
It was a competing group of fractious businessmen who Khan was using to get equipment. It meant that many people within the network loathed each other because they saw themselves as competing.
Khan built a complex called Khan Research Labs, or KRL. This is one of his English language brochures from the 1990s. Besides helping Pakistan build up its nuclear weapons program, KRL offered international sales of dual-use equipment. In other words, designs that could be used either for a civilian nuclear energy program or for building a bomb.
No problem. It's a commercial deal.
By the 1980s, it was a booming market. Pakistan's neighbor Iran, under Ayatollah Khomeini, was at war with Iraq and suspected of wanting a nuclear deterrent. With a 21-gun salute, then President Ali Khamenei was welcomed by General Zia in Pakistan in 1986.